Ya, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Oke, teman-teman mahasiswa kelas TOEFL. So, in today lesson and video, we will discuss about the reading section this time. Yeah, so I will open two book this time. Yang Cracking for the TOEFL, ya, and Cliff. Jadi yang pertama saya mau lihat dulu yang di Cliff ini, kita bahas readingnya bagaimana, and then untuk mencari kesamaan dan garis merahnya, nanti kita akan sama-samakan ininya. Oke. Exam structure, readingnya mana nih? Grammar. Oke, masih grammar. Oh, kalau Cliff emang kebanyakan grammar ya ininya ya. Enggak readingnya enggak ada. Listening comprehension. Oh, section 3, reading practice test, reading comprehension, halaman 332. Oke, halaman 332. Halaman 332, 332 masih panjang. 332 ini dia. Oke, kita masuk ke reading section ya, atau ke reading comprehension. Dari sini kita akan lihat ada soal di sini ya. Jadi tentang reading. Oh, ini langsung ini ya. Langsung soal ya, jadi nggak ada penjelasannya. Oh, baik, kita akan berarti ke buku yang satunya, yang Cracking the TOEFL. Kita masuk ke halaman chapter 2, halaman 28 ya, halaman 28 di Cracking TOEFL-nya ini. Baik, jadi untuk yang bagian reading ini adalah integrated exam, which means that each task may measure more than one skill, but TOEFL is also a standardized test, which means that it consists of definite patterns ya. Jadi reading itu nanti ada patternsnya ya. And then your goal when taking the TOEFL is to make sure your responses conform to the pattern present on the test. The reading section in this chapter will form a foundation for your listening and writing goal. Likewise, the skill needed to perform well in listening, speaking, and written are closely intertwined. You will find that measuring the core concept of one section will also help you on other section of the test. Oke, sekarang kita masuk ke bagian reading. Di sini ada penjelasan. There are 3 or 4 reading passage on the TOEFL, each around 700 words. Although the TOEFL test written attempts to simulate the type of reading you will do in a university or graduate school program. The reading skill required on the tests are very different from the skill used in an academic environment. Let's take a look at the passage. Oke, jadi di sini ya. Kalau dalam bagian section reading ya teman-teman. Jadi untuk bagian section reading itu terdiri dari 700 kata ya. Jadi itu apa istilahnya? Ininya 700 kata. Window. Ini dia. Oke. Nah ya ini ya, oke. Ini display akan saya matikan. Nah baik. Ya jadi di sini TOEFL ini terdiri dari 700 kata ya. And then the type of reading you will do in a university. Jadi topik-topiknya itu sangat-sangat sudah advance ya, not advance but upper intermediate ya. Jadi soal-soalnya atau bacaannya itu udah ke ranah universitas dan juga graduate school program ya. Ya pokoknya udah memasuki college ya. So here we have an example of question or the passage. Contohnya seperti ini. Scientists at Michigan State University are asking a most challenging question. Can a computer program be considered alive? The member of the Digital Evolution Laboratory say yes. Computer scientists at the laboratory have created a program called Avida, yeah, that has intrigued not only scientists and engineers but biologists and philosophers as well. The Avida project began in the late 1990s, yeah, when Chris Adami physicists thought to create a computer program that evolve to do simple addition problem and reproduce inside a digital environment. Adami called this program digital organism. Whenever a digital organism replicates, it has a chance to alter the program of a newly created offspring. In this way, the program emulates and evolve. The goal of the Avida program is to create a model that could simulate the evolutionary process. Okay, next one. We have paragraph 2. Paragraph 3. Initially, the digital creation were unable to process number in any way, but Adami designed Avida to reward digital organisms that were able to work with the numbers in some way. The digital organism that could process numbers were allowed to produce in higher number. And then in only 6 short months, the primitive program had evolved a number of mechanisms to perform addition. And most surprisingly, not all of the digital creatures perform additional in the same way. The Avida program now resides at Michigan State University, where it has been growing and changing for years. The digital creatures number in the billions and have colonized more than 200 computers. The organisms compete with one another to resource, and the most successful ones are able to make more copies of themselves. Just like living creatures, the digital entities also undergo mutilations. Mutilations that are beneficial ensure greater reproduction. Harmful mutilation have the opposite effect. Okay, next one. Paragraph 3. 4. 1, 2, 3. 5. As a model of the study evolution, the Avida project has been a great success. Adami's digital organisms have suggested solutions to some of evolution's biggest mysteries. For example, Avida has helped disprove the theory of irreducible redu- redu- reducible complexity. Opponents of evolutionary theory have suggested that some structures, such as the eye, are too complex to have been created in piecemeal stage. The evolution of Avida digital organism proven that even extremely complex structure can be developed in stages over time. The Avida program success has also raised some unintentional psych- philosophical philosophical dilemmas. Does Avida just simulate evolution, or are digital organism a new form of life? According to the director of the Avidas project, the process undergo by the digital creatures are the same as those experienced by biological organism. The only difference is that biological entities are based on a string of DNA, whereas the digital creation form Avida are based on strings of ones and zeros. In a living creatures, different sequences of DNA instruct cells to create certain proteins. In one of the Avida's creation, different sequences of computer code instruct the program to perform certain function. In both cases, the reproduction of the organism is subject to force such as competition and mutation. Now, some of villages are maintaining that the programs in Avida project are alive. The programs alive, died, reproduce, complete, cooperate, and evolve. Activities that may biologists consider the hallmark of life. One prominent biologist says they don't have a metabolism, at least not yet, but otherwise they are alive. Okay. Okay, let's continue. Of course, not every agrees that the program's creation are alive. One difficulty is that biologists do not even agree on the definition of life. The diversity of life on Earth constantly surprises scientists, and there are simply too many characteristics and qualities to provide one simple definition of life. Despite these misgivings, the directors of the AVIDA program remain optimistic that their program, even if not considered alive, is leading to a greater understanding of life in all its form. It may even facilitate future researchers for life on other planets. According to one member of the Avidas teams, the problem that we are now is that we are focused on looking for DNA-based life, but there may be other kinds of life out there that we have never dreamed of. The Avidas program may provide biologists with another avenue to explore. Okay, so this passage is typical of the passage on the TOEFL. It's about 700 words long and it discusses academic topic. It contains some challenging vocabulary words that require you to read about a topic in which you may have no interest or knowledge. Although you may end up reading passage such as this at university or graduate program, your approach on the TOEFL should be very different. For example, in a college course, you would need to read this passage very carefully, paying close attention to the details and facts presented in it. That type of close reading, however, is neither possible nor necessary on the TOEFL. You should employ a tactics called active reading rather than close reading. Nah, working on the active reading ya, jadi kita harus mengerti bahwa kalau saatnya membaca itu kita harus menanyakan atau kita harus aktif ya. Di sini namanya juga active reading. So in this chapter we focus a lot on active reading. You might ask yourself how that different from how you ordinarily read. Active reading requires you to read with purpose. Nah, di sini kita harus ngerti apanya, kalau membaca tuh harus ada purpose-nya ya. Analyzing the materials and looking for specific things within that material is something you will be asked to do on this section of TOEFL. We want to make sure you get into the habit now, so on the test you will be prepared. The reading skill necessary for the TOEFL really are different from the skill you need for other types of reading that you do. Therefore, to do well on the TOEFL, you have to work on active reading. You will have to face many challenges in the reading section. You have already seen an example of the level of content and vocabulary. You may encounter perhaps the greatest challenge, however, is to attempt to both read the passage and answer the question in limited time provided. If you take every question, you have only about a minute and a half per question, and that's without allowing any time to actually read the passage. Nah, jadi teman-teman, kalau kita mengerjakan TOEFL yang bagian sectionnya reading, itu kita harus bisa melatih diri kita dalam active reading ya. Jadi active reading itu adalah kita harus membaca dengan tujuan, the purpose ya. Jadi ada penjelasan ini. Nah, purpose-nya untuk apa sih? Nah, jadi misalnya tadi Afida ya. Purpose-nya Afida itu apa ya? Dan terus di sini, perhaps the greatest challenge, however, is to attempt both to read the passage and answer the question in a limited time. Oke, jadi kendala kita kalau kita dalam section reading ya, kendalanya kita itu kita mungkin kehabisan waktu ya untuk membaca dan untuk memilih memilih jawaban yang benar berdasarkan fakta yang kita baca. So if you tackle every question, you have only about a minute and a half per question, and that's without allowing any time for actually reading the passage. Ya, jadi masalahnya ya gitu tadi. Kalau kita memikirkan setiap pertanyaan dan juga you have only a minute and a half per question. Nah, jadi satu pertanyaan itu 1 menit ya kalau kita baca ya. Jadi itu harus cari solusinya. Nah, kita di sini ada solusinya ya. Therefore, instead of attempting to retain all the information in the passage, you should focus on the big picture. Active reading involves completing 3 major tasks. Nah, di sini kita akan mempelajari bagaimana caranya kita bisa menggunakan active reading ya. So the first one is stating the main idea. Figure out what the passage